The concept of the Woozle Effect, also termed as evidence by citations, refers to a circumstance where an unsupported claim gains unwarranted credibility due to extensive citation. It shares a resemblance with circular reporting in media, where dubious claims are blindly republished and echoed, leading to perpetuation of unsupported claims. The term originated from a character in the book Winnie the Pooh by A.F. Milne, where Pooh and Piglet started chasing their own footprints under the illusion of an imaginary character, the Woozle. Before the term Woozle Effects was coined, references to the idea have been seen in literature dating back more than 60 years. Authors writing in psychology and social science research used phrases like a scientific woozle hunters and hunt for the woozle, cautioning about the pitfalls of incorrect assumptions. The specific term Woozle Effects was first introduced by Beverly D. Houghton in 1979 during a discussion critiquing the rising belief in a myth regarding domestic violence, which she then went on to define as reification by accretion. Other researchers state that authors like Gels and Maria Strauss describe the Woozle effect as a trend of bias prevalent in social sciences that leads to various errors in public perception, academia, and policy making. In agreement with Donald G. Dutton, a Woozle effect occurs when improperly supported research frequently cited misdirect individuals and the public, converting non-facts into widely accepted myths. In 1980, Gels unveiled the pattern known as the Woozle effect, demonstrating how his 1974 research, which was based on a limited participant pool and included in The Violent Home, with a foreword by Strauss, was misleadingly presented as applicable to broader populations. This work was then referenced by Langley E. Levy in their 1977 book Wife Beating: The Silent Crisis. Later in 1998, Gels and Strauss introduced the metaphor of a Winnie the Pooh Woozle in their book Intimate Violence to highlight how defective methodologies in research and self-referential studies can result in older research being misinterpreted as new evidence, leading to bias and errors. A primary instance of this effect can be identified in the citations of addiction, rare in patients treated with narcotics. A brief correspondence to the editor by Jane Porter and Herschel Jick that appeared in the New England Journal of Medicine in 1980. The letter discusses findings from the analysis of medical records about the use of analgesic drugs for hospital patients. It concludes with the statement that despite widespread use of narcotic drugs in hospitals, the development of addiction is rare in medical patients with no history of addiction. Even though this research exclusively pertained to narcotics usage in clinical settings, it was progressively referenced to back assertions that addiction to pain relievers was similarly infrequent among those prescribed narcotics for home use. In 2017, a letter in the NEJM revealed a significant surge in citations of Porter and Jick's work following OxyContin's launch in 1995. The Porter and Jick study was among several used by Purdue Pharma, OxyContin's maker, to suggest that the drug presented a low risk of addiction. However, by 2007, Purdue Pharma and 3 high-ranking company officials were convicted on federal criminal charges for providing false information about the risks tied to OxyContin usage. In both scholarly and commercial publications, the 1980 study was misrepresented, with popular media outlets like Scientific American and Time dubbing it an extensive study and a landmark study, respectively. Even the medical journal Seminars in Oncology erroneously hinted that the Porter and Jick research examined cancer patients, although no specifics were given about the conditions of the patients included in the study. The researchers drew the conclusion that the studies they examined were deficient in terms of citation, satisfactory operational definition, and discussion of methodology. Stransky and Finkelhor 2080-2012 expressed criticism towards the overall methodology used in human trafficking research, making reference to the Woozle effect. They issue an important disclaimer on the initial page of their report, advising against quoting any specific estimates, since detailed examination shows none are grounded in solid scientific base. Gambrill and Riemann 2011 scrutinized scientific studies and popular media content on social anxiety, finding that many indulge in disease-mongering. This is accomplished by presenting the disease model of social anxiety as a resolute fact, using unchallenged repetition strategies and excluding any rival theories from the conversation. They further observe that despite being made aware of clear indicators of such tactics, many subjects failed to identify these signs in a real-world test. James J. Kimball cites the historiography of the 1943 American "We Can Do It" Wartime poster from 1994, 2015 as a case in point. The claim by Geraldine Hoff Doyle in 1994 that she was the real-life model for the poster was often taken as fact without proper verification of two basic premises: that Doyle was indeed the young factory worker pictured in a 1942 Wartime snapshot, and that this image influenced commercial artists. J. Howard Miller's poster creation, even though some media accounts mentioned the connection as being unproven, a great number embraced it enthusiastically. The sheer volume of these endorsements gave Doyle's narrative a convincing authority, irrespective of the lack of evidence backing the connection. In 2015, Kimball unveiled the original picture of the factory worker, identified as Naomi Parker, working in California in March 1942 when Doyle was still attending high school.